Knitter podcast. My name is Laura and I am coming to you from Lowestoft in Suffolk in the UK, and today is Sunday the 28th of July. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking me out. I basically come here for my knit night because I don't have a knit night. I don't have any living around here knitting friends that I see who I can talk knitting with, and I need it because otherwise I go a little bit mad. I also drive my husband a little bit mad. So I live here with my 2-year-old daughter Ellie and my husband Chris, and yeah, there's not a lot else to that. Few little admin things before I crack on to all the gubbins. Horrendous lighting again. Talk about this later. Excuse me. Horrendous lighting again. I can't turn around so that the light shines on my face a bit better, because then my patio doors will be reflecting in the background. And I don't want to undo the curtains and pull them across because I'm trying to keep the house very clean, and my cat pulls at them, and I just want them to be in a nice state for the next week. Talk more about that later as well. So, shadowy side of the face, apologies. I'm hopeful that one day I will be able to have some sort of studio lighting, and one day I will record not just on my iPhone, but as Katie of the Geordie Knits podcast says, this is a budget podcast. Yes, I do use iMovie, so I do put little bits and bobs down here at the bottom of the screen. I'm not one to write my stuff out on paper. Like, my handwriting is awful. You wouldn't be able to read the stuff. Anyway, so yes, a little bit more admin. We are at 482-ish subscribers. I say ish because every time I say how many subs we have, we go up or down a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, not anymore. But as of recording, we're at 482. And when we get to 500, I would like to do a giveaway. So I have picked a skein out of my stash. This has been living there for a very long time. I couldn't bear to swap it with anyone. I couldn't bear to give it away. I love it to bits, but honestly it is not getting used. There is so much gorgeousness in my stash, and I looked at it for a while this morning and then thought, no, it needs to go to someone who would love it a bit more. So here it is. It is a sock yarn, and it is very vibrant pinks and blues with a few speckledy bits of undyed in there. It is the King Becky yarn. Now I don't know, hand-dyed yarn by King Becky. I don't know if King Becky is still dyeing. I bought this off Etsy years ago with a few other ones of her speckledy skeins, and yeah, I haven't seen it since. So this colourway is the Belle colourway, B-E-L-L-E, like the name, and it's 100% superwash. Oh well, it is a sock weight, but it's 100% merino superwash wool, so there's no nylon in here. But it says sock weight, 365 meters, 400 yards, 100 grams, and yeah. So this, and I will put in a load of the bulb stitch markers, will be my 500 sub prize. So I'm not going to open a Ravelry thread for it yet, but it will be on Ravelry because it is the easiest place for me to draw from. And when we hit 500, I will open that thread, put it up there for everyone to come and join. That's in my Ravelry group, the Lonely Knitter podcast group, which I am horrendously inactive on, but I will get over there soon. And I'll let you know on that week's podcast, and it will be open for at least a week worth of podcasting, or at least 2, you know, from one podcast when I announce it to the next when I close it, only because if you've been watching, you may know that my podcasts have been a little sporadic recently. I usually did record once every week. Since I have been pregnant and quite sick and lost my knitting mojo for quite a while there, I have tended to go a few weeks without, and I'm trying for every 2 weeks, but if I can do more then great. This week I had lots to chat about, so it's only been a week since my last podcast, but I had lots to talk to you about, so I wanted to come and chat. So we also have a knit along, Braden's gone, knit along going in the Facebook group. So I have a Facebook group that is co-hosted with my lovely friend Katie of the Geordie Knits podcast. So that is Knit Along with Geordie Knits and the Lonely Knitter Facebook group. And anyone can join, come over and join. But we had a lot of new faces, and we had got to a milestone number, so we just did a giveaway this evening. In fact, so we do giveaways over there as well, and I have a prize to send off that we announced earlier. And we're having a shawl along in there at the moment, but it's not just for our knit alongs, it is for just any knitting chat, anything you want to share at all, stuff from previous knit alongs. I've still got flax on the needles from months ago. It's a really lovely friendly group with tons of amazing people in there who will give you advice and just moral support whenever you want, so come over and join us if you would like to. But we have a shawl along that started at the beginning of July, yeah, and runs through till the end of September. Katie, my brain is like a sieve. But yeah, knit a shawl in that time, no whips allowed, and you will be eligible for prizes. If anyone would like to donate a prize, anyone who's watching has a prize that they would like to send over, please do get in touch with me. I would be absolutely honoured. I've had some amazing donations for the podcast beforehand, whether or not you want it to be for the shawl along or for a subscriber giveaway or for anything at all. If you've just got something you want to celebrate, I would absolutely love that and incredibly appreciate it. If I don't get any donations, that's fine, makes a difference. I will buy prizes, I will pull from stash, I will have prizes, do not worry. Me and Katie will not let you down. And yeah, so come and join in. Katie is also running the Whip Crack Away Cal. Their sign-ups for that have closed, and she's just working with a lot of people to crack through their whips for the rest of the year. The Whip Crack Away Cal is a tribute to Doris Day, Calamity Jane. I don't know if I've actually had this conversation with Katie. Doris Day is like one of my all-time favourite actresses. I used to sleep over at my nanny's house every Friday night, and we would stay up late and watch a Doris Day film, and I loved them all. I loved Calamity Jane, but I remember always asking for on Moonlight Bay, and I mean I was about like 12, 13, 14. I loved all the romantic ones. What else? Oh, now that's gonna bug me forever. Pillow Talk, loved that one. Had a major thing for Rock Hudson. Definitely was not one of the cool kids as a teenager. Oh, what else? There's one where she goes, there's this bloke and his name's Hubble. If someone's a Doris Day fan and knows who I want, knows what film I want, what I mean, there's an old bloke in the film, and I thought his name was Mr. Hubble, and yeah, she falls in love. She does that in all of them. And then that got me into Gene Kelly films, and then I just in general was a total dork. There was one year that we recorded Carousel on, I know it's not a Doris Day film, but recorded Carousel on a video, and I think I still own that video. I don't own a video player anymore, but that's how precious it was to me. I must have watched that tape enough times to have worn the ribbon out. I'm well off on tangent. Not even started about the knitting. This was meant to be, I just told my husband that I was going to try and record a podcast in less than 30 minutes because those are the ones that tend to be my favourite to watch. That's not happening. We're already nearly at 10 minutes. Anyway, so that's all those bits done. Yeah. Come and join us for the shawl along. I might cut that out. I might not cut that out. That's general me, total ramble. Let's crack on to the knitting. I have finished objects. You'll note, please, that I said objects. So, Minute and Mojo is well and truly back. I know last week I was saying that I was knitting love again after a bit of a sweaty, sicknessy minging period where I was not feeling it. I am queen of second sock syndrome. There is a ridiculous amount of unfinished pairs of socks in this house. Not really interested in any of those right now, I'm not gonna lie. But I did finish a sock this week. Now I know I showed you something that looked very similar last week, and you would be forgiven for thinking that this was the same thing. But no, this is the one I showed you last week, and this is the one from this week. And I've lost one of my sock blockers. Don't know what's happened to that. But my Dragon Hill Studios socks are finished, and they are gorgeous. So Dragon Hill Studios, I think it's Sharon, queen of the self-striping sock yarn for sure. I absolutely love, and they are matching like down perfectly. I have perfectly matched. I don't think that's ever happened before. So completely perfectly matching socks. I used, can't remember what this colourway is called, but my dear friend Sharon of the SCR1TNO podcast, she is my yarn mum, she gave this skein to me because she had two, so she's finished hers, now I finished mine. And then when we met at Unravel, that's a bit creased just because it's been folded up in my bag, but we met at Unravel, and I haven't blocked them because who blocks socks? On my sock blocker. We were at Unravel, and I was like a little bit down at calf with this main yarn, and we went to the Dragon Hill Studio booth, and she traded me a little box of chocolate mini eggs if I would buy the minis and rip out my sock, which I did. So I bought the pink, the yellow and the blue minis that match the colours that are actually in the self-striping, and they are all sparkle as well, if you can see that sparkle, and ripped my sock out and started again. And here we go, I have a pair of Dragon Hill Studios self-striping socks that are going in my sock box, which has been sadly, a box of socks which has been sadly neglected this year. But I am going to try and make up for it. So those are there. I have a nice chunk of this left, quite a bit left. I wound from the outside of the cake because it was such a perfect cake, and I wanted to be able to just pop that into my scraps afterwards. And then I have, because I just used these 20 gram minis, are they 20 grams? No, 25 gram minis. I only used, you know, toes, heels and cuffs. There's tons left of both of these, so I'm sure I would be able to get toes and heels, or toes and cuffs, out of each one of these if I want to, so I'm going to keep those to one side. This is probably going to be wound into minis to go into advent calendars. I am hoping to swap sock yarn advent calendars with a few people this Christmas, fingers crossed, from like their sock scraps throughout the year. So I need to get knitting more socks so I have more scraps to use. Those have lived in my Down Sheepy Lane Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket little bag that my amazing friend Mia, who is the dyer behind Brambles and Me, gave me when we met at the Woolmonty. So they've been living in this bag this week, which I can now free up and put back into bag stash, and I can put this gorgeous pair of socks into my box of socks. I'm not going to show you this bag because this bag is a stash enhancement bag, so I will show you it a little bit later on. But I did knit something else and finish something else. What? So, when my friend Katie went to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, she met up with Iris, who is the host of the Clogs in Africa podcast, which I have watched from the very beginning, and I think she is fabulous. 1 minute. So she met up with Iris, and Iris was such a sweetheart. She had yarny gifts. Not only did she give us an enamel pin from her podcast, amazing pin, she also gave us each 2 skeins of gorgeous yarn. I should have bought the other skein in because they are matching skeins, but I haven't. So this is just the leftovers from the first 100 gram skein. And this is Linda's Treehouse yarn, hand-dyed yarns from Wilderness, South Africa. and it's the, I think I'm going to say this wrong because I'm always saying stuff wrong, colourway Lowry. I don't know, what do you think? Lowry? And it's Merino Superwash DK, 100 grams to 186 metres. Well, sorry. I have been being asked for quite a while by my nanny, would I knit a pair of socks, slipper socks, just comfy, stretchy socks for my great auntie Jean. So my great auntie Jean has gone into a care home. I don't really know my great auntie Jean very well. I have met her a few times in my life, and she's a very nice lady, and she has had a very hard life. She's had a hard life. I don't need to get any more into her business. She's had a very hard life, and she is now not at the point where she can receive care in her home, and she needs round-the-clock care, so she is now in a care home. And it is a hard place to be by the sounds of it. So my nanny goes to see her sister-in-law, it's not her sister, it's her sister-in-law, most weeks, and she's not very mobile, and her feet swell and her ankles swell. And she gets cold feet. I don't know if they have aircon in there because it's hideously hot at the moment. I don't see how you could have cold feet, so maybe they have aircon. But she gets cold feet, and unfortunately, so my auntie Jean is compos mentis, but a lot of the people in the care home are not, and it is shared with people who have dementia and Alzheimer's and are not compos mentis, and they tend to wander, apparently, and she's had quite a few of her things taken. Slippers are one thing that seems to just walk away. Yeah, they're not allowed locks on their rooms, on their doors of their rooms, and these people are a lot of the people are very confused, the ones that are mobile, and just walk in and pick something up and walk away, and it isn't done with any malice, and you know, it's not done in a nasty way, but it's incredibly upsetting for people like my great aunt Jean. Anyway, she'd had her slippers pinched, and my nanny had given her some socks that I had knit for my nanny that were very stretchy and had a lot of room, and they could just about fit over her feet, and she loves them. And so my nanny had asked me to make her some more of something slippery, socky, with a bit of stretch. So I got out this DK because I thought something nice and thick might be nice, and I don't know my auntie Jean's shoe size, and it doesn't really matter anyway because her feet and ankles swell so much on a daily basis that if these socks that I made for my nanny hadn't been a bit oversized and stretchy, they probably wouldn't have gone around her feet anyway. So I decided on tube socks, and I got out my skein of DK and then a little bit of some blue leftovers that I've now used up, which I don't even know what it was. And I have just knit her a pair of tube socks with a little panel, a 4-stitch panel going down the front, which is just an increase and a decrease with yarn overs on either side. So it's really simple, and then a toe on the end. So a ribbed cuff, a toe, and because it's DK and the stitch count, it's nice and stretchy, and I made them in 2 days. It took me a day to make each one, and those were days when I was toddler parenting. So very, very easy, very, very quick, just made up in my head. And now my great auntie Jean has a pair of nice squishy socks, and they're nice bright colours because that was what my nanny had asked for. Was she likes blue, and she also really likes something happy and bright, so I hope she will feel that those have fulfilled that. Yeah, I'm really happy with them, and I'm going to write the pattern up and just put it on Ravelry as a free pattern. It really isn't anything special. I would not feel like I could charge money for it. There are going to be no instructions for cutting heels. There are going to be no instructions for you know, other fancy things, and I will just put the stitch count that I have used and very basic instructions on what you need to increase and decrease by to make them bigger or smaller. So it's you know, your stitch count wise. So it's incredibly simple. So they will be a free pattern. I don't currently have any free patterns in my Ravelry store, and that is something that I really had wanted to do this year. Just a couple of simple free things in there. So those are done. And yeah, technically 2 pairs of socks this week. On to whips. I'm actually quite proud of myself for this one. Once I cast off the Dragon Hill Studios socks, I thought I want more vanilla socks on the needles. Vanilla socks are my jam this week at least. And I wanted to use up a skein of yarn from my stash that was a bit special that I have been hoarding, because there are a lot of skeins in my stash that I have been hoarding, and I'm never going to use them because they're too special. Well, that's ridiculous, because why did I buy them then? And they were there to be knit, and I can't justify buying more skeins when I am not using the ones I've got. So I need to use those special skeins, those souvenir skeins, those ones that I've really, really loved. I'm going to use them up. And vanilla socks and pattern socks, but socks in general are perfect for me for those really special skeins, because I love socks. A lot of people say to me, oh no, you don't waste them on your feet, you've got to put them on shawls and things that people are going to see. Socks I wear the most. I mean, not right now because it's boiling hot, but socks I wear the most and I treasure them the most. So socks it is. So I grabbed a skein out of my stash, and the stash that I chose was Flamingo Legs by Stranded Dye Works on, wait for it, MCN. Major treated myself, folks. So it's all balled up. I just balled it into a thumb ball. This is how I wind my thumb balls. I don't know if anyone would ever be interested, but I would happily do a quick tutorial video on how I wind my thumb balls, if anyone was interested at all. I don't know if anyone would be. I don't know if that's something that people are going to be like, what? Why would we want to know that? Especially when it's unwound itself in my bag, but I haven't taken it out since I started knitting these socks, and you will see how far I am through this pile in just a minute. But yeah, I wind them like this, and then they usually turn out quite neat. I did put a picture on my Instagram when it was a lot neater at the beginning. So I grabbed that skein. So it's Stranded Dye Works MCN. I bought this at Unravel with my lovely friend Sharon, and we went to Amy's booth and had a chat, and she was lovely. Amy from Stranded Dye Works was absolutely lovely. And I bought a few skeins of hers actually. I think I bought 3. I knit one up straight away afterwards into Katie from Geordie Knits, her Blake Law socks, I think it was, that I knit with that, my blue skein, and then put the other 2. One is a Valentine's colourway, and then this Flamingo Legs, which I had seen on her podcast so many times. I knit the blue one up straight away, and then I put the other 2 away and not done them, and I thought, no, I'm going to get them out, and I am going to knit myself a vanilla pair of socks from the Flamingo Legs colourway. This is the second sock. I finished a whole sock. So I've knit the second Dragon Hill Studios sock this week, the first Flamingo Legs sock this week, why not do that, the pair of Auntie Jean's DK weight socks this week. So it's all the socks this week, ploughed through, quite chuffed, I'm not going to lie. And then I have started the next sock. I finished the cuff, and I am now just over 10 rounds into the leg. Yeah, so this is Flamingo Legs from Stranded Dye Works, and I absolutely love what it's doing. It isn't a self-striping, I don't think it's meant to be, but the way it is pulling and flashing down the leg, it is giving a spiral of stripes. I mean, Amy is very clever, so I'm sure this is what she planned, but I love it so much. So much. And this is the first time that I have used bulb stitch markers. I don't know if you can see them on there. There we go. Bulb stitch markers to count every 10 rows so that I know how many I've got, so it's easy for me on my second one. I found out my absolutely perfect length, because actually what I do every time is either eyeball it and think that's probably right, and then sometimes they don't fit me 100%, or constantly try my sock on. So this time I thought, no, I am actually going to mark it out so I know how many rounds I like on a sock in the leg and the foot, and then I will know from now on. And like in self-striping yarn, like with the Dragon Hill Studios yarn, that went so fast because I was constantly waiting for the next colour, the next colour, the next colour. This went fast because it is gorgeous yarn, but it also went fast because I was waiting for the next 10 rows, and then I'll put a stitch marker in. And it was Katie who said that to me this morning, and I was like, she is right, I definitely am ticking them by the stitch markers. So yes, so for me, I like 20 rows of cuff, 40 rows of leg, then a heel flap and gusset, and then after the decreases from my gusset, I like 50 rows down the foot and then my toe, and that fits me absolutely perfectly. And I do have big size 7 clumpers, so yeah, 50 rows fits me for my gauge for 2.25mm needles. So one sock and a bit done of this pair, so fingers crossed I will have another pair of socks to show you next week, if I record next week, or in 2 weeks if I don't manage next week. So that's all my whips, because I don't know what is going on with me, but I cast off and then instantly cast on the second sock, which never ever happens, but there we go. So now I'm on to stash enhancement. The first thing that I got, I haven't actually brought through to show you because, oh no, I won't go on to stash enhancements first. I will just show you the bag I'm using. So I'm using the Why Doesn't a Bear Grylls knit. This is a Knitting Goddess bag that I think was a show exclusive to Yarnporium when I went last year. I might be wrong, but I haven't seen them about in other places since. And it's a Knitting Goddess bag. There's the little logo, and then I have clipped onto here a bunch of my bulb stitch markers in the 2 colours that I think I love the most of the ones I have, which is this gorgeous tealy metallic and purple metallic. So stash enhancement, the first thing I got was 1,000, just got moved, my leg is going dead, 1,000 bulb stitch markers in 10 different colours, and it also came with 200 normal safety pins as well, so the safety pin type. I have never been that bothered about them before. I liked them, but I wasn't that bothered. And I feel like they don't really look like light bulbs. I feel like they look like more like, apologies, I feel like they look more like a cock and bollocks. I'm just saying. That's what they remind me of. So I am trying to be a grown-up who says bulb stitch markers, but in my head, you know that is never what I am calling them. So yeah, I got 1,000 of those, and they came in a really cool little storage box with a section, so that every colour was in its own little section, and it's quite fancy. It was only $7.99, it was from Amazon, and it was a good deal, I thought. But I haven't brought them to show you because they're bulb stitch markers, and I've tidied them up and I forgot to bring them in, and then I was like, nah, no one's that bothered. So the other thing that I bought this week was a bag. So this is the bag that Auntie Jean's socks were in, and it is a bag from Busy Pottering. Now, I have been seeing Busy Pottering bags on Sharon, SCR1TNO's podcast for forever and a day, and they always look really good, and she's always raving about how well made they are. And so I felt like I needed one. Now, Ellie has this little plastic ice cream cart, and she pushes that thing around all the time, constantly making up plastic ice creams. And so I got an ice cream cart bag. It's also, I mean, it's a Seaside bag. I think it might be one of her Cornwall bags. I might be wrong there. But I live in a seaside town, so Seaside is nice. I like Seaside. So it has this ice cream cart on it, a lighthouse, and then this little couple on the back with their little dog, And then a fish and chip shop. You can see it just says fish and chip shop over the top of the door there. And yeah, it's so nice. There's a bit of a beach hut down there. And my daughter was very excited to see a seagull. I'm not 100% sure that's what that is, but she says it's a seagull. We have lots of seagulls here. They poo on our cars and our windows. It's not that nice. It's a drawstring bag. It is incredibly sturdy. I was so chuffed with this. When it turned up, I was like feeling it, and I was just like, wow, it's so like perfect. It's, you know, it's got sturdiness. It will stand up on its own. Can fold the top over and have a proper yarn bucket. And this is the sock size, but it is a generous size. Like, I would get more than one skein in there if I needed to. On the inside there is a little tab and a lobster claw clip, and then stitched in is her busy pottering little sign. And then in here I've got some bubbles, toddler life. Got a estate agent's card. I use another estate agent's card. A receipt from Homebase and a tag off my daughter's socks. So I like to only go somewhere with one bag. So this has come around with me since it turned up on Saturday. Yesterday morning I have just walked around with this bag on my wrist all weekend, so little bits of gubbins have gone in there. But it came with some little goodies. I love the little goodies that you get with bits and bobs. It came with a couple of things. So the first was wool wash, which is from the Soap Dairy, and it is made with Jersey milk and lanolin, and it smells lovely. But it is a little bar of Sheer Delight wool wash. So Sheer Delight wool wash bar, and it does smell gorgeous. And then here is her logo, Busy Pottering, and her details. So she has an Etsy shop, busypottering.etsy.com, and she is Busy Pottering on Instagram. And then attached to this lovely little card was a gold bulb stitch marker and a few other stitch markers. So we have a camera, a pair of flip-flops, and they say made with heart and soul on the back. You can see there the flip-flops, and then a ice cream, so they match really nicely with the bag. And then two little really pretty ring, that is awful, I know, my iPhone camera, but ring stitch markers, the ones that don't have a join. Yeah, so those were in the little bag, and I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you so much. I will definitely be putting those to good use. So those are the two things that I bought, stitch markers and this gorgeous Busy Pottering bag this week. But I did have something else sent to me. They're incredibly generous. This box, which is heavy, so it must have cost quite a lot to send, so I'm majorly indebted, and love this friend. So this is from my lovely friend Jo of So Can Jo fame. I have shown off her project bag that she sent me before. She sent me a bag for giveaway before. Jo is an absolute gem of a person. I know a lot of people know her and a lot of people love her, and she's So Can Jo on Instagram, but she also has an Etsy shop which she has set up, and she is promising that she will stock it at some point with her bags, and we will all go running there like crazy people, I am sure, because, well, I can't wait. Anyway, when I had lost my knitting mojo, she'd seen my podcast and she had offered to send me some magazines, and obviously I have sort of got my mojo back, but she, you know, we'd had a conversation. I said, well, I could take them into hospital when I go into hospital to have the baby. We will be having a planned cesarean, so I am imagining turning up, waiting for my slot, being bumped back when the emergencies come in, and then yeah, having a bit of a wait around in the hospital. So she had some knitting magazines and said that she was happy to send them to me. Or not just knitting magazines. What she actually said was, I have a few, do you like Molly Makes? I have a few of those, if you would like them. And I was like, thank you so much. And I said, give them to me at Perth. And she was like, no, I'm going to send them to you. Absolute gem. Well, it wasn't just a few Molly Makes magazines. Jo made my day when I got these. They actually went to my neighbour, who was then out, and I couldn't get them because they were always out. And so I finally got them this weekend, and I was incredibly over the moon. But she sent me the little kits that came in a load of these magazines, and I love these. These are like one of my favourite things, the little kits that you get. And yeah, so I was incredibly excited when I opened these, and I will make all of these because that is what I'm like. Look at this one. In fact, this one I might make really quick because we've got a real plant addiction going on in this house at the moment, and my husband is buying lots of plants and cacti and all sorts. But this one, so there are all these kits for an embroidery hoop, for a tiger keyring. My toddler will go mental for that. A pom-pom kit to make some pom-pom fruit, again my toddler. This I would love to make to put on the wall. I might save this one as we're hoping to move, and it's paper art and I don't want to break it, so maybe I'll keep that and have it as a treat when we move, if we move, fingers crossed. An avocado keyring, which I would really like to have on my keyring, and then make your own grommet from Wallace and Grommet. And so all those little kits, plus an unopened, by the looks of it, episode edition of Knit Now with these really cute 30, I think, are they Bouchets? I don't know, 30 stitch markers, and then a bunch of Molly Makes magazines. I nearly cried. I'm so ridiculously happy. Thank you so much, Jo. You don't know what this meant to me. Oh my gosh, I want to make this little bunny rabbit. Look at this bunny rabbit. Oh my gosh, I want to make this. I feel like I didn't even look at the front of this magazine. I flicked through a few of them. It's a crochet wreath. I want to make that. There's, oh, I love Molly Makes. I just barely ever get it because money priorities for me sometimes, you know. So yeah, I got that massive box of goodies and I was just ridiculously happy. Jo, you are so generous. Thank you so much. So that's everything new that's come into my house this week. I have notes this week. It's good going. I want to just go quickly through my list of podcasts that I have watched this week. I'm not going to do a down low of what's been going on. Apologies. These beeps go on forever. That's my dishwasher finishing. It was near the end of the cycle, so hopefully it wouldn't have been too loud for you guys. It wasn't like at the beginning where it's really clunky. So my list of podcasts is quite long this week because I've just had them going on in the background and I've been a bit under the weather and it's been a bit hot, and so we've had a couple of sitting in the garden paddling pool days where I've just had them sat on the table next to me, and yeah, I'm not going to do a little download of what's been going on in the podcasts because I have quite a few, so it's going to take me forever. So Geordie Knits, always watch Geordie Knits podcast. Katie is my knitting bestie. I talk to her most days. She's just an absolute gem. SCR1TNO, Sharon, my knitting mum. I had a lot of episodes to catch up on a lot of people's. I think I had 2 episodes with Sharon to catch up on. Plus now she's vlogging throughout July and they are ballooning in France and it looks so cool. I would encourage anyone to go and look at her vlogs. I love them. There's another one popped up, I think another 2 popped up today because she isn't always uploading every single day, but she has the vlogs from every day, and they're really good. I cannot wait to watch those 2. I wasn't going to do a download of what was going on in each one. I've watched the Dunderknit podcast. I've had a few episodes of that to watch. Hairy Sheep, definitely had at least 2 episodes of them to watch. The Yarn Hoarder had 2 episodes of them. One was 2 hours long, definitely remember that. Grocery Girls, 2 episodes of them. Skeinanigans. I have like 5 episodes of Skeinanigans to watch. I have not been watching podcasts for 4 months because I have just felt so low and so like I can't be a part of the community because I'm not knitting and I'm really just feeling crap about myself. But I'm coming out of it. I am coming out of it and I'm getting back to all my friends. By the Lakeside, Sandy by the Lakeside, had a few of hers. So Sweet Violet, I watched all her episodes. I'm not watching her July vlogs. They, I'm sure are absolutely lovely. I just haven't got through them yet. I've got so many more podcasts to watch. My Creative Daydream, Carly, I won a giveaway on her podcast. So waiting for that to come. It looks amazing. I'm so excited. And she messaged me before I watched it. And I was like, wow, thank you. And then her podcast episode came out like the day after. And I watched it. I was like, that's me. I feel like I usually don't win things like that. Like I'm very lucky in that I have some amazing friends and I've had some gorgeous things like those Molly Makes magazines sent to me. But winning stuff hasn't throughout my life hasn't been usually a thing. And a Spring Snowflake. Sophie, I have watched her podcast and vlogs. Yeah, I had 1 podcast to watch and then vlogs. So that is everyone that I've watched this week. I still have way more to catch up on. I was having a chat with Katie earlier about the podcast that we watch and the fact that some of the podcasters have not said anything in regards to the racism conversation, in regards to the supplementation issue, in regards to any of the hard conversations that have been going on in our community and whether or not we choose to still watch those podcasts. I am doing a big catch up. I don't know who has said what because I haven't been watching for quite a long time, so I am doing a big catch up, but you know, I do sort of I can choose where I spend my time, and I choose to spend my time with those that are committed to making this community a better place. And I know there are a lot of people who do work behind the scenes who don't potentially put things on the internet, but there are also people who have a massive following who could do some good by spreading a little bit of the love when it comes to helping awareness for those marginalised groups in our communities. So yeah, I think I've thought about it quite a bit today, and I'm going to be going down the same route as my friend Katie in that I want to give my time, my support, my listening and my watching to podcasts and people who I know share the same views as me. Previously, I might not have felt this way, but I was a supporter of Nathan's competition before all this came out online, and I had no clue what was going to happen or what was going to be said. And there has been quite a few times now where I have come online after a little break. I'm not constantly on Instagram, but you know, I've come online and suddenly been like, whoa, I thought you were cool. What is this? And kind of shocked by some of the stuff that has been said, and felt let down by people who I know they're not my real friends because it's the internet and they don't know who I am, but people who have come out with views that I find harmful and offensive. And I was like, I thought you were cool. What? Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but I can choose who I want to spend my time with when it comes to differing opinions. So yeah, we had that little chat earlier, so I have a lot of podcasts to watch and catch up on, but when I have caught up on everybody, there'll definitely be a few people that I think I won't really be catching up with anymore, because there has been a lot of call outs online for people to sort of stand up and support and show that they understand why that support is needed, and people who aren't listening to that but are still happily trundling along with their knitting and stuff and talking online. Maybe you don't want to support, in which case I'm not sure I want to support you. There you go. Anyway, what's been going on this week? I am not going to do a big rundown of the week anymore, because who wants to hear about what I have done every day this week? I went to work, I did some groups with my kid and a few other bits. So I'll just tell you the interesting stuff, or at least interesting for me. I went to A&E on Friday, missed my CBT telephone appointment that I had been really looking forward to, because my 2-year-old, she picks her nose. She's a 2-year-old, man. I'm trying to stop it. She got it off her cousin. Her cousin does it all the time. She's started to pick her nose. She thinks it's funny. She'll pick out a giant bogey and go, "Mummy, look a bogey," and then finds it funny when I'm like disgusted. We've had this whole conversation about the fact that if you pick your nose, your brains will fall out. She knows it. She tells it to me. I don't really know if she knows what brains are, so that hasn't really worked. Anyway, we've been trying to use a tissue to blow our noses instead of picking them, and I may have turned my back for 10 seconds when she had a piece of tissue, in which time she shredded the tissue, took a little lump, balled it up, and shoved it up her right nostril. Now, she came up to me, "Mummy, there's tissue up my nose, get it out." I got her to lift her hair back. That piece of tissue, it was like past the bend. It was here. It was so far up, I could only just see it. So I rang my friend, who's an A&E nurse, or sister, or she's a big deal. She works in my local A&E, and she happened to be at work, but I guess she was on a break. She picked up, and she just went, "Come straight in." So I went in. It was very quick. They were very good. My A&E are amazing. My friend was there, so Ellie knows this friend and was very comfortable. And they, just as we walked in the door, she sneezed, and it shunted down. I probably still wouldn't have been able to grab it with my finger, and I wouldn't have wanted to in case I've just pushed it back up. But it meant that when the man came in with he wasn't a doctor, I'm not sure what it was, but he, I'm off the street, he came in with his little torch and his pair of tweezers, and he just went like that and yanked it out. And it was massive. I can't believe how big a wad of tissue a 2-year-old can get up her tiny right nostril. It was huge. So yeah, trip to A&E this week. And what else? Not a lot. I've been trying to sort out my house. I have barely knit today because I have literally sorted through all the toys. There are multiple bin bags to go in the bin. There are multiple like broken things and stuff like that. There are multiple bags to go to the charity shop of things that can be salvaged, that she doesn't play with anymore, she's not interested in. There are still 1,000,001 toys in my house, but they are now tidied away. All of the cubbies are in their place. My living room is sorted. Why is this important? It's important because yesterday we went to a couple of estate agents, and on Friday this week they will be coming around valuing our house, and then we'll be having, once we've picked one, they'll be having pictures taken, and we are going to put our house on the market. I've been talking about this on and off, little mentions, for a while. We want to sell our house. We'd like a bigger house, and same area. We want actually the same estate. This is a new build. We want to move to another new build property that will probably not be ready for the next 12 to 18 months. But we're not in a chain because we're going to move in with my dad. So this will help us totally reset our lives financially and be able to afford a bigger house. So yes, we're going to put our house on the market. So it needs to be all tidy and all sorted, and there is a lot of gubbins upstairs that has not been sorted and needs to be cleared, because I'm a bit of a hoarder. It is bad, but I say I'm a bit of a hoarder. I bring a lot of things in to the house, but I can get rid, I can pare down, like today, like not just kids stuff, my own stuff too. So I have to get all that done by Friday this week, realistically, so that when they come for their walk around upstairs, which is my messy part of the house, hopefully it will be sorted. Yeah, so I'll let you know how that goes. Anyone want to buy a house in Lowestoft? So yeah, we are going to hopefully be doing that this week, so that's big news. And I think that's everything that's happened. Fibre East was this weekend. Oh my gosh, the FOMO was so bad. It was so bad. Fibre East was originally on my list of places that I wanted to go this year. I went to the Monty, kind of a bit broke from that from last month, and I don't get paid when everyone else gets paid. I get paid for weekly and not at the end of the month. So I don't get paid till next Friday, so I was so broke. Plus this weekend we had all these plans to get things done. Like we went and bought Ellie new shoes because hers were out, she's outgrowing hers. Loads of really boring things that had to get done, house stuff that had to get done. So apart from the fact that I couldn't afford it, I have like no petrol in my car right now, so I would have had to probably put, I mean it's about 2.5 hours each way, so at least a tank of petrol, and then yeah, at least a tank of petrol, and then if I want to spend any money, didn't have it. So I was very sad. The FOMO was strong, but it has been nice watching everyone's pictures pop up on Instagram, all of their stash pictures that they have bought. I am so jealous, but I also love to watch it. So hopefully there will be lots more of that popping up online in the next week or so. And yeah, it's school holidays, folks, now. Schools break up, well, they've just broken up this week here. I do not have a school-age child, but I do take my child to all the places that, my cat is crying. Nemo? I do take my child to all the places that are usually quiet in school hours, and now I have 6 weeks of them being rammed full of kids. So we are going to do a few quiet things, a few garden things, a few around each other's houses with our friends things for the next few weeks, definitely. I'm going to go because we're at 51 minutes, and there was me going, I'm going to do a 25-minute podcast. That never happens. I'll see you next week, hopefully with some more knitting. I have a lot more vanilla socks planned, so it might get boring sock parade over here. We'll see. Just I hope there's more than vanilla socks, but really honestly it's totally my jam at the moment. Anyway, thank you so much as always for making me so much less of a lonely knitter.